Ultimately, all civilizations want what they can't have: the conquest of time. So they build bigger and higher and grander, as if they could build their way out of mortality. They say you can tell what's most important to a society by what its tallest building is. Here in New York, that building is One World Trade Center. Whether you see that as a symbol of defiance or of remembrance is up for interpretation. But the memory of tragedy that may make people hesitate to visit these heights is countered in design through psychological messaging. You start your journey in the basement, in the bedrock, so you can feel the strength. We're anchored deep into the earth, which enables us to reach these heights. Small screens project at varying depths from the walls, like puzzle pieces of collective perspectives sinking into one. Hyper-stylized and saturated, they make you feel like you're somewhere important. High-tech 3D animations state explicitly and implicitly that the structure is strong, impenetrable. The vertical ascent is a time-lapse, showing the evolution of the land while you slowly rise over it. Like you're not just viewing the past, you're rising above it, building over it, and that you're safe up here. This is the only deck in the city that's fully enclosed. 360 wraparound views, pristine and protected, suspended inside a glass cocoon. A paradox emerges. You're hyper-exposed, yet completely protected, open to the endless horizon, yet sealed with an invisible shield. From this height, it feels more like you're viewing from the city from a helicopter, down at a little Lego ant farm. Down on the streets, it's hard to imagine anything about New York feeling small. But from up here, you've zoomed out. Not just on the context of the city, but your own place within it. Distance brings perspective. If One World Trade wants to elevate you above history, the Empire State Building wants to throw you right back in it, interacting with it in full scale, placing you right inside that era. The ground floor exhibits read like a museum of New York, an ode to ambition. The audacity to even think of building such a building during the Great Depression, and the immense human labor that fed its steel skeleton. The symbolism its construction carries. We're a city insistent on its future, despite everything working against it in its present. You can feel that time period it was built in as you gaze at the Art Deco details. Wonder of the modern world makes you wonder what the view would have looked like back then. This would have been the first time residents and visitors alike ever saw the city from this perspective. There must have been a lot of excitement that came with that, but also maybe some clarity. You can see in all directions. You can orient yourself, remove yourself from your daily life, and see the full picture, the full scope of all the directions you might go. And as the sun sets over that horizon line, the context widens yet again. Even the entire city itself is just a pulse in something far larger. That even the greatest heights of the tallest skylines are only just a brief interruption in the arc of the Earth.
Let's go now. Folks, we are close. Exit this way, please.
Of all the major observation decks, this one probably has the least pomp and circumstance. No theatrics, no prelude. You just get in the elevator and go up. It probably doesn't need all the spectacle. The views speak for themselves. Centrally located and only slightly elevated, you feel less like a visitor to the sky and more like you're meandering around a second sidewalk in a different plane. The sky was alive on this night. Clouds glowing in pulses, as if the skyline had extended its electricity into the atmosphere. Crowds pressed against the glass, trying to capture that perfect frame of this almost impossible convergence. But the flashes came on their own terms, brief and elusive, thrilling in their refusal to be captured, the challenge of which only made you want it more. Every strike redrew the horizon for a split second, a reminder that no matter how high you build, you can't outbuild nature. But leave it to New York to try. Hudson Yards feels like someone tried to build a second Midtown out of sheer force of will. Light-up displays and glowing diagrams present big ideas and catchy phrases. Our cities, our future. Manhattan's last frontier. Building a city on stilts. Dramatic color-changing tubes pulse upward with the intensity and hum of a sound bath. This entire complex is built over active rail lines, already an engineering feat in and of itself. But anything becomes buildable when you throw enough money and manpower behind it. The elevator ride gives you the illusion that you're peering through a window into someone's imagination. Like this is all a result of someone's imagination. Until it's real. Up top, the deck is enormous, cantilevering boldly into the open air, with angled glass walls and a triangular glass floor that dare you to override your own instincts. It does feel emblematic of the incessant human obsession to keep pushing farther. That height alone may no longer be enough, that we're destined to keep pushing outward, higher, braver. Like extremity itself is the next frontier of human ambition. This is a bit of an unusual location, perched up on the far west side. It makes the city feel a little distant, detached. There's space up here. Unusually so. The rhythm is different. It's slightly peripheral, like the edge of a stage, rather than the center of it. Or maybe the beginning of a bigger story. In some ways, the most interesting view becomes not of New York at all. The sunset feels like it has its own gravitational pull. The glow is entrancing. Like moths to a flame, people are drawn to the ability to watch the earth spin in real time, myself included. The window of time is brief. The city will only catch fire for a moment, as the horizon aligns with where we're standing. And everyone wants that front row seat at the glass. You can feel the urgency in the room, the gentle competition for the clearest vantage point. In these moments, it's fun to step back. The choreography is part of the context. Conversations quiet down, and everyone syncs up to share the same experience. And as the sun reaches its final crescendo, its nightly bow, the anonymous figures around me shapeshift into silhouettes. For a moment, we're all just outlines cast against a fading sky. And then it's back to reality. In an era where sheer height may no longer be enough to impress, this last observation deck takes that limitation as a dare. The elevator ride offers no context, just a void of flashing lights and sounds. You're then released into a neon corridor, mysterious still, until the light changes. Daylight pulling you closer. And then the scale changes entirely. You step into a 2-story atrium that feels structureless. Every surface, either glass or mirror. Your own image, multiplying. Folded into this kaleidoscope where city and self become one and the same. In this room, the mirrors feel like part of the architecture. You're reflected in the floors, the walls, the ceilings. Fractured into a series of infinite selves. But in the next room, the mirrors lose their solidity. They take on the shape of liquid, shimmering and formless. But this time, boarded off, not allowed to be touched. People drift towards the windows instead, the surface that isn't imposing rules. And then in the next room, the mirrors become air, floating and shimmering as if to defy gravity. A concept that feels especially surreal when you yourself are floating in the clouds. People bat them playfully into the air, chase the reflections across their surfaces, watch as they reflect the backdrop of the city. In the end, every moment designed to pull you out of yourself and sense of scale. From the ground, we measure buildings by their floors, their mass, their structure. On the top, the city becomes an abstraction. And when you're folded into this abstraction, you reflect on being part of it. It's as though these decks aren't simply vantage points, but psychological devices, reminding us how small we are, how constructed our sense of control is. 5 decks, 5 eras, 5 philosophies, 5 different ways of coping with the overwhelming state of being. Every deck is an expression of the same longing to get higher, see farther, to step outside the constraints of ground-level life and imagine, however fleetingly, that perspective is a kind of power. Each platform offers a different way of rising above the city that otherwise swallows you whole. Perhaps that's what we're looking for when we go up so high. A moment when the city looks legible. When the horizon straightens into something we can almost convince ourselves we understand.